What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Bland back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. We are back, guys. Another week, another show. Let me know in the chat right now if you guys can hear me. We don't want any audio issues, any audio problems. I know we had a couple the last couple of weeks, so we're trying to get that iron and straighten out. But we are back, guys. Another jam packed week full of content. We're ready to talk about these things, man. Another Saturday. You guys are always here showing up, showing out. So as you come in, please hit that like button on your way in. Subscribe to the channel as well. We appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are always here, man. Let's just go ahead and get right to the show. Dive right the fuck in. Let's go ahead and just talk about my compadres here for a quick second, guys. I got the best panel mates on YouTube, point blank, period, guys. So you'll hear that first. For sure, for sure. So these guys are amazing. Let's go ahead and just start with you, Stag. What you been up to, man? What you got going on?
Oh man, I've just been up to the same old shit, just streaming weekly on Twitch, talking on Twitter, friggin' living life and playing games, man. That's about it.
All right, man. Well, cool, man. Glad that you streaming. Hopefully that's going well. I know, guys. Once again, you follow him on Twitter if you guys have not already. That's where you can find out, what's going on with him as far as his live streams every single week, his schedule. Him being on the podcast as well. A lot of us use Twitter for that, so just catch us there, guys. You'll be able to catch everything that we have going on there. It's a really, really easy place to follow us. So either way, let's go ahead and keep this thing moving. So Centurion, man, let everybody know what's going on with you and when is that video coming out, or when's the next video coming out, I should say.
I'm building the next video tonight. I did release a video on Monday, definitely talking about what was said in my David Preen interview on the TXR podcast about the direction they're going with next gen. And I also showed people what 30 frames a second looks like right up next to 60 frames a second, so you can kind of get an idea of what they're aiming for next gen.
Okay.
I'm working on my next stuff tonight. Finally quit working 2 jobs, now down to 1 job, and able to put forth all my effort into hanging out with you guys as much as possible.
Man, we appreciate it, man. You was you're on that plantation with them 2 jobs, man. You know how that thing go, man. But you got to make ends meet. So it is what it is, man. So
living the American dream.
Absolutely, man. Capitalism at its finest. But let's go ahead and throw this over to Fuzz, man. What's going on with you? Fresh off of a nap, Fuzz. If you guys didn't know, every time before Fuzz comes in here, he takes a nice nap, about an hour and a half before the show every single time. But anyway, Fuzz, what's going on with you, man? What you got cooking up?
Not much. Been just quietly observing some stuff on Twitter and playing my NASCAR game to no end. So enjoying gaming and looking forward to these holidays and looking forward to the show. Glad to be here with you guys.
Let's get it then, man. We are not going to waste no more time. Once again, guys, as you come into the show, hit that like button, guys. Trying to get up to 1,200 subscribers. Help us out before the end of the year, man. And it is right around the damn corner. Didn't even realize how fast time goes by, man. We are right at the ass end of 2019, man. So it's been an amazing year. We'll dive more into that, but let's just go ahead and dive into the topic. So first topic, as always, poll of the week. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. I do the poll of the week every single Monday, early in the morning. You guys vote on the poll, and we talk about it here on the show. So this week's poll was one that, I kind of let it roll around in my head a little while if I wanted to actually, bring this up as a topic because it's a little bit inflammatory. It can go a lot of ways, but I said fuck it and pull the trigger anyway. So just wanted to talk about, essentially the launch lineups for these 2 consoles. So which company will have the better launch lineup for their new console and why? So as you guys know, I'm an Xbox guy, so a lot of people that follow me more than likely are going to be Xbox fans. So it was an overwhelming landslide in Xbox favor. 87% Xbox, 13% PlayStation. Not saying that PlayStation won't have a great launch lineup. This is just the way the chips fell, essentially. So let's start with you, Stag. I know you don't care much about this at all. I know you just want games, and you'll kind of sort it through once you get the games. But what was your opinion? I don't know if you voted on the poll. If you did, which one and why?
Man, I'm on a roll. I haven't missed a vote in a while.
Oh, that's right. Holy shit.
I think you can just
6 weeks
you can just expect that I vote now. I voted Xbox, but I the only reason I voted Xbox versus PS4 is, I mean, there's a couple reasons, but main reason is just all the work we've been seeing Xbox do at the end of this gen. I mean, I know a lot of that's been for the current stuff and setting themselves up for, xCloud and stuff like that, and backwards compatibility with the new systems, and then historically we know PS4 the last 2 gens hasn't launched super strong, and they've gotten stronger later in the middles and a couple years after. So I just that's why I think that. I mean, in Halo, right? I mean,
Yeah,
how can you? I mean, you're gonna have Halo at launch, and that's a huge launch title. I mean, hopefully they say it's gonna be, and I hope it's ready. I hope we don't get that pushed back. But like you said, I'm more worried about just playing games and whatever. And if it has a great launch lineup, I mean, what's a great launch lineup? Like more than 5 titles? I don't know. You know,
that's the cool thing about these questions, that it varies depending on who you are and what you like. Some games may come out you don't like them at all. So you're right though. So one thing that was 100% accurate that we can't sleep on is that Sony tends to warm up as time goes by. We
really don't know what they're doing right now.
Exactly.
They've been really closed mouth about next gen. I mean, except for specs and like design pictures and stuff like that. But game wise, I mean, we haven't got a ton of news. Like Xbox has just been hammering us, which is great. They have to.
Yeah.
But,
well, they haven't said anything about Scarlet besides that we're getting it next year and Halo's supposed to go with it as far as launch with it, but they haven't really given any details. Well, once again, guys, we right around the corner from all of that. E3 2020 is coming up. Obviously, these consoles are launching next year in the fall, Christmas time, so it's going to be lit as fuck. But yeah, you're right about as far as the game launch lineup. It just varies depending on the person. So traditionally, though, like you said earlier, PlayStation does start a little slow. You don't usually get the big boys, the God of Wars, the Uncharted. Obviously, this generation is a little different. I don't know if Last of Us is going to carry over. Some of us think that that's going to do like the original Last of Us, where it was like a last gen game, and then it was a next gen game is what they ported it over. So they could do that with Last of Us and kind of double dip there. Essentially, PlayStation fans will buy a up-res version of the same game. They did it with the first one as well. So we'll see as time goes by. But Centurion, what do you think, man? Which one is going to have the better launch lineup? Does it even matter at this point?
Oh, shucks. I had to sit back when I voted. I do vote on these, but it's so early in the week. By the time I get to Saturday, I forget it even happened. I apologize.
Yep, that's every week.
Right, I know. But I had to sit there and think about it because, I have to agree with Stagger. Historically, Xbox has had generally the better lineup than PlayStation. PlayStation's always been slow to start. I remember one of the biggest problems with the PS3 is they had no games for a very long time. You could kind of see them kind of staving off right now a few titles being released just to make sure that they have a PS5 launch lineup. But I had to vote Xbox pure also because, when you have 15 studios under your belt, you're obviously not just going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs, burning money. I'm pretty sure they got a lot of games that they're cooking up and wanting to put out there to help kind of get the Xbox Scarlet off of the ground. And then also you got Game Pass. That's something that, what was one of the biggest problems when you bought a new console at the beginning of a generation? There was barely anything. But now with Game Pass and stuff like backwards compatibility, you're not hindered by that problem. You're not just going to be sitting there staring at this amazing, expensive piece of technology that you can barely do anything with.
Besides run Netflix and stuff. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, absolutely correct. I mean, even us not knowing what these launch lineups are going to look like, we've seen Xbox. Xbox has been gearing up. We've seen the glow up essentially with Xbox. We've seen them go purchase these studios, come out and say they're working on these titles. They got a lot of other things, hints going on. You see it on Twitter all the time, visiting here, visiting there, seeing what they got going on. Who know there may be some additional partnerships going forward. So this is just good. It's good for everybody. And then once again, you cannot forget about Sony. Just because Sony hasn't said shit does not mean that they're not doing anything. We know they're not resting on their hands. Sony, essentially, I think for being as quiet as they have, they kind of have the surprise factor in their favor because they haven't really done or said anything the last year and a half, almost 2 years now. Not a single show besides like a state of play. So it's going to be great seeing all these games come out, seeing what these new consoles have in store from us. But last but not least, Fuzzy, what you got going on, man? Did you vote on the poll? Which one did you pick and why?
I voted Xbox primarily because I'm looking forward to Forza. Halo is going to be another big one, which kind of new to the franchise, so still looking forward to that. And then you got Game Pass, like you guys have been saying. the only thing I know as far as for Sony for right now is going to be, was it Ghost of Tsushima? That's about the only one that I know that will probably be a launch title. Of course, they're going to carry over The Last of Us 2, probably as a remaster, or they'll just be like a graphical update for those with that buy a PS5. But it's going to be pretty interesting considering now with all the studios that Xbox has and multiple teams making games, what other games will be ready at launch, along with like Halo and Forza Motorsport 8 type of deal. But thinking Xbox is going to try their best to knock it out of the park this one, because they stumbled last go around in the beginning. I don't think they'll have that slip up this go around. I think they're going to be firing on all cylinders from the gate. So
the only thing that at this particular point that could essentially trip them up would be price. But once again, that's something that both companies have to figure out. You know what I'm saying? And as consumers, we got to be prepared. You know what I'm saying? We're asking for these generations, to get better, these hardware to get better each time. We're asking for these games to do more cool shit, more levels, more AI, more all this complicated shit. So, let's try to keep our heads on straight if that price don't come out to what we think it may be. But either way, I agree with you, Fuzz. We've seen what Xbox has going on. We've seen the studios. We know they're not resting. They've come out and say, Matt Booty said it at the XO, as well as Phil said it multiple times. Aaron said it. A ton of other people said it. Mike said it before he left and went to Blizzard, that, they got a lot of things going on right now. So Sony, once again, I'm sure they're cooking up. I'm sure Insomniac's not just working on the next Spider-Man. I'm sure Insomniac's doing something else as well. So they got a lot going on. Haven't seen anything from Naughty Dog, obviously The Last of Us 2. So we'll see what's going on. But that's a great first topic, guys. Great warm up here. Once again, if you're in the chat right now, let us know. Hit that like button on your way in. Stop, say hi to everybody, man. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. Share that link on Twitter. We want to pack this thing out, get as many people in here as we can. You guys are always amazing. And once again, guys, these questions are also for you guys in the chat. So we want to keep you guys active and engaged. So let us know what you feel about the topics and what we're talking about. So let's go ahead and move over to the next topic, man. That was a great starter. The next thing we're going to be talking about, this is kind of it's kind of an odd topic. I just threw it in there because it was something that we haven't really talked about. I know we touched on this like maybe 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago on this particular show, but at this particular point, I haven't heard anybody have this argument or just have this conversation. Now, we all know, that with Xbox coming out with this new controller, the Elite V2, our hands aren't evolving. They're not changing. We're not growing extra thumbs. We're not growing web fingers. So the one thing about these new consoles we haven't gotten yet is, are we getting new controllers, or are we going to get this? Are these old ones going to be usable? Now, everything else, as far as the software is going to be, is coming up. Everything is going with this. The backward compatible games, Game Pass is making that possible. Even on Sony's side, they're bringing everything along. So are we going to get to the point to where we're going to have one controller and it's just going to work for the next 2 or 3 generations? So I want to start with you, Fuzz. I know you're kind of the resident tech gadget guy, and you and Centurion as well. But what do you think about that? I mean, we haven't talked about it, but are we just going to be able to use the Xbox One controller? Because, PlayStation, there's really not much you can do different, unless you're Nintendo. You try all these kind of weird configurations with controllers. But for the most part, are we at the end of that, at this point?
I think at some point they'll probably add some sort of LCD screen down the road, but not this generation. I know PlayStation's already unveiled, or some people have uncovered the patent for their current controller, where the thumbsticks are a little bit smaller. The controller itself looks like it's a little bit bulkier, more like an Xbox One size controller, as opposed to having just the pointy, corners to it. But I think as far as Xbox, about the only other thing that they'll probably do, because I know Phil has already said he wants to make it so all of your hardware can carry over. So your controllers, your headsets, and things like that, you won't have to rebuy when the next generation comes out. It's just something you'll connect and sync with your new system. The only thing additional I can see them doing, and it looks like they're doing as much as they can with the current controllers, is some sort of media share type of deal, which, it sounds kind of corny, but it's one of those things that's kind of useful for game clips or just screenshots in general. And I could foresee them doing something like that. I mean, until we're ready to have VR on it, at least as a more, I guess, say common used peripheral. I don't foresee the controllers really making any more gains. I mean, the Elite 2, still waiting to, see what they're going to have for Black Friday sales and stuff. But I think it's going to be one of those things where at some point, some of those features might make it into the regular controllers when the Elite 3 has, I guess, the next iteration or upgrade where you'll probably be able to relocate the thumbsticks or relocate the buttons or something to that effect. But for right now, I think they're as good as they can get. I mean, you might get some that have a little bit more of a adjustable weight
ergonomics, that kind of thing.
But yeah, button wise, I think they're spot on. I mean, more so the Xbox One for me, but the PlayStation 1 is fine as well. I've used it for years doing driving games on PlayStation, so I can't really see many improvements going forward.
No, that makes sense, and I've thought about this when I actually sat it and actually typed the question in my phone. I'm like, man, have we gotten to the point to where now, like, there's really no adjustments to be made? Like, there's small little things. Even if you think about from the Elite 1 to the 2, small adjustments. A lot of it was an adjustment in quality. It wasn't even really doing anything different. It was just we did a little bit better now that we know how it works now. So we've done some additional things to this already new feature. Just so it's that much better, that much more responsive. So, Stag, go with you, bro. What do you think about the controller situation? Are we just gonna get these Xbox One controllers and these PS4 controllers and use these for the next 10 years? Because at this point, our hands aren't really changing. So,
I mean, I don't know if we'll get like too much of a difference, but you never know what's going to happen in 10 years. I mean, that's a long.
That's true.
That's a long way in advancements of technologies and like how to build things and lots. I mean, especially with as rapidly as our technology changes in this day and age, man, 10 years is who the fuck knows what's going to be like in 10 years? I mean, we might not even be holding a controller anymore, and we're going to have we're going to have warriors being like, I like controllers, and I like using my hands to motion around, or whatever the fuck. I control fucking thought processes. Who fucking knows, right?
I'm going to be putting in the Star Trek holodeck in my house.
Oh my god, dude, that's all I want. Like, VR is cool, but goddamn, give me a holodeck. I don't know. I mean, I've been really happy with this generation of controllers between the Xbox and the PS4. I have been a long hater of the PlayStation controller until the PS4. I've said I hate the size of them. They feel too small. I just feel like they're made for a smaller set of hands than mine. And the Xbox controller has always just felt, even the 360 controller, I mean, the Duke obviously was just like cumbersome and ridiculous. But I mean, the 360 controller was great. And I really feel like the Xbox One controller just expanded upon that. And I could see a few little tweaks in here and there, like along with what Fuzzy was saying, but what else do I need? I really like the Elite 2 did a lot of really good things. And I wish more people had access to that in a standard controller, like changing out the thumbsticks and things like that. Because like I put on my Elite 2, like it has a taller thumbstick, so it makes. And I wish it actually came with two of those taller thumbsticks because I'd use them on both the left and the right. But I've been really happy with the controllers that we've had for shit. I mean, 15 years now.
Yeah. The design has not changed much, even between the two. I know Nintendo's the only one that changes their design drastically every time.
Yeah, and like holding the Switch just feels weird. I like having. I have a thing I can slide my Switch into that basically turns it into like a really big controller, and it doesn't. I don't get as much hand fatigue when I'm playing that stuff. So. But I mean, even like the Hori attachment for the Switch looks like, oh man, I want to buy that. That looks sweet. It basically puts a left and a right controller on either side, and I hope they get some of that kind of stuff for the xCloud because that would be great to have my phone look like a controller, just longer.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm perfectly happy with these controllers. I could play on them forever.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I don't see what. I mean, like, especially with the Elite, with the paddles on the back, like, I'm already, like, trying to wrap my brain around, like, how the hell am I going to use, like, screw that. I just took the paddles out because I accidentally hit something, and then, how much can we do with the controller with the amount of digits we have on our hands?
Yeah. That's the thing. And that's the funny thing about this is that this is something that, it's like air. Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't pay attention to the controller is that's our direct input to the games we play every single day, unless you play on like a computer, which you have a keyboard and mouse, but same idea. and we have not thought about that at all. Like,
That'd be
there's
cool if I could talk to my controller. That's the only thing I could think. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
don't know how that would work, but it
I
would
don't know
be
either.
still be a little bit cool. They've tried a lot of that, like talk to your Xbox shit, and it just
Yeah,
never really catches
yeah,
on. It never
it's
really
not quite
works
there
that
yet.
well either.
Yeah, it's not
So
quite there yet. That technology is
yeah,
a little ways away as far as the
I mean,
we got the Alexa, we got the Siri. It's getting
yeah,
there.
I
It's
really
getting there.
did like, one of the weirdest features of the PS4 controller, in my opinion, is when it makes noise at you, and like that is kind of fun. When I'm playing baseball and like I can hear the first base coach talking to me and stuff through my
Hmm.
controller. That'd be kind of cool to get like maybe on the Xbox
Yeah.
side, but it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's more of a preference type of thing. It's a small
yeah,
feature, but yeah, no, I feel you. So yeah, before we go over to Centurion, let me just throw my opinion out there. I just yeah, you're. I mean, I agree with those two guys. I mean, honestly, there's really not much we can do at this particular point that's going to be significant. You can do shit like add a screen, but then you got to think about it, Fuzz. I know you mentioned this earlier. Think about battery life. We still using
Yeah.
double A's, and we still using battery packs. We doing the lithium ion. There's a lot of things that goes into these controllers. So yeah, I believe that there's things going to be added. There may be an additional button or two that we're going to get. I don't think the overall design is going to change at all. Our hands aren't changing. We're not growing any thumbs, any extra fingers anytime soon. So I think that the for the most part, the design is going to stay about what it is. And they may get to the point to where they're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna stop even making new controllers. We're just gonna design one, and then let you guys just continue to buy it as each new console comes out. As forever long they're gonna be coming out for until we get like X Cloud and all this streaming stuff becomes more viable." So Centurion, now that my mini rant is over, what do you think about the controller situation? You think that that's something that is just going to change, or could more of the same, kind of like we were talking about earlier?
Well, you see, I have this master plan that I'm going to go to a foreign country and I'm going to have my big toes put on my hands so that way I can rock with 12 digits instead of 10.
That sounds expensive.
But no, I really do think that we're obviously reaching, at least right now, the limitations of the controller. God, I can't really argue or put anything else on top of what you guys have already said. You only got 10 fingers, you can do so much. The paddles, I will definitely say on the Elite controller, I never would have thought about that until I saw on the Elite controller. I was like, oh my God, you can actually make use of fingers that you normally don't use. Because we used to use 6 fingers, the thumb, the pointer, and the middle finger if you could really properly hold the controller, and that was about it. Now you're able to use the other ones.
Yeah.
And I remember buying my Elite specifically for Star Wars Battlefront, the original, well, not the original Battlefront, but the one here on Xbox One, the first one that EA put out. And I wanted it specifically so that way I could jump and turn and fire all at the same time. I wanted to have that little edge of not being able to have to take your thumbs off the joystick to be able to reach over and actually hit a button. It does make a difference using those paddles.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially in those kind of games, shooters, things like that, for sure.
Definitely. There is little things you could put into them to make it better. Like on the Elite 2, David was talking about a shift feature, about how you can use one of the buttons as like a shift button, like on your keyboard. And when you hold the shift button, you actually now have it to where you can have a different set of functions at your disposal on your controller, so you can map certain functions from the console to those buttons, like capture that and take a screenshot. There's a number of functions that he said you can actually map to the controller now outside of just remapping the buttons in general.
Yeah.
Dude, the Elite 2, I didn't even think they could even make it any better, but then they started making it to where you can adjust the tension.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
All sorts of stuff. And, God, really, how much can, every time you try to create a controller, you're trying to reinvent the wheel.
Pretty much. Yeah, you are. I mean, and once again, I want to give every single company, including Nintendo, kudos for doing a fantastic job with this. Because over time, I as the generations go by, we don't think about this kind of stuff, but when these changes happen, you kind of get worried, like, well, what's going to happen next? But all three have done a fantastic job with creating a controller that works for everybody. Now some people have preferences. Some people say the Xbox controller is better for various reasons. Some people say PlayStation's for various reasons. But either way, man, to each his own. But I agree with the fellas. I
Did you
mean,
see
it's
what
not
Invader
much.
put in the chat?
What did
I'm
he put?
sorry.
No, you're good.
It's the TXR podcast. Centurion, we need a candy dispenser built into the controller.
Oh my goodness! Good luck with that edition. Good luck with the
Could you
battery life
imagine
on
hitting a
that thing.
button and a piece of Pez comes out of the top of the controller?
Jesus Christ!
Might
Good
get
luck.
stale.
I know, right? Horrible. Good luck with the battery life on that thing. But either way, no, we're not taking any ideas from Invader. Invader's cut off from any ideas.
Can I get a mock-up of that, please?
I know, right? How the hell is that supposed to work? It comes with a belt to go around your waist or something crazy. But either way, let's go ahead and jump over to the next topic, man. That was a great topic. So this new one is this next topic is really fun because I haven't talked about this game in forever, and it's something I just ran across. I was looking at the app on my phone and have this game app that pretty much takes news and just throws it all in one place, and I kind of view it throughout the week to kind of see what's going on and keep track. So so we got Saints Row news. Saints Row. If you've been living under a rock and you don't know what the hell it is. It is a GTA-like, very GTA-like game, very edgy, does not take itself serious. Has a kind of I don't want to say it has a solid fan base. A lot of people really like Saints Row. I mean, it's not gonna come. It's not a replacement to GTA. I think they realized that very early on that this game was not a replacement, and they kind of just did their own thing, which I like about Saints Row. They don't take themselves too seriously. It's just a quirky ass game with quirky ass shit going on. So basically, they came out and said that we are going to be seeing something from or something about a Saints Row in 2020, whether it be a new game. Obviously, I think it's going to be that, but I don't know if it's the game's coming out in 2020 or we're just going to see like an announcement in 2020. But either way, I'm excited about Saints Row. I don't know who else here on the panel is big Saints Row fans, but I think it's kind of overdue. We haven't really gotten one. I think what was the last one 4. But I think that was what the
Yeah.
ass end of last generation. I think we got that game, so we haven't really
Yeah.
gotten one. Kind of like Borderlands, where we're gonna get this game hella late within the generation. So I'm really happy about it. So we're gonna start with you, Fuzz, because I remember you talking about Saints Row, and I believe you're kind of a fan of Saints Row. So
Oh,
what do
yeah.
you think about the news and when you read the article?
I'm pretty happy that they're actually thinking about making another Saints Row. I would like to see them have a mixture of Saints Row 1, 2, and 3 aspects. I know they're not really meant to be a serious game because
Yeah.
the Saints Row 3 and 4 were a bit out there where you go from being the mayor to the president and fighting aliens and
Yeah,
stuff.
it's
But
ridiculous.
it was weird. There was a time where GTA, everybody thought, oh, it's the greatest game ever. And then Saints Row came out and it had a lot of things that you would have expected should have been in GTA that eventually wound up getting added into GTA later. So I would like to see a bit of all of those features that other games have since copied, kind of put all into this next game. But I'm anxiously awaiting this because, like I said, it's one of the few games or one of the first games that I went and platinumed. What was it, 2, 3, and 4, and 100% all the DLC. Just because I got tired of Capcom with not being able to transfer saves and stuff like that when you switch the hard drive. But that was that's a long time ago. But yeah, Saints Row coming out in 2020, or at least hearing more about it. That's what they should have did instead of this Agents of Mayhem, which wasn't a bad game. It just probably should have been more like a. It should have been more of a co-op type of game. That would have probably helped it a bit more. But yeah, Saints Row. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm hoping they have a little bit of 2 and 3. Well, a lot of the features in 2 mixed in there.
Yeah. Okay, cool. No, I mean, once again, Saints Row is an acquired taste, though, man. It's not a game that it definitely does not take itself seriously. I mean, I don't know how big of once again, I don't know how big of a fan people are because we haven't seen it at all this generation. Like I said, similar to Borderlands. Borderlands had a cult following. Saints Row not as big, but also has kind of a cult following as well. So we'll definitely see a Stag. I'm taking a chance on this. I feel like you don't give a fuck, but I may be wrong, and you may be able to say something about the game.
I mean, no, I've played them, I've checked them out, but I've definitely. I was never a huge fan of Grand Theft Auto either until
Got it.
I liked 5 a lot because I mean, the 3 different characters you get to play as and progression was it was hilarious and fun. I've tried multiple Saints Row games. I don't think I've ever actually finished one. My favorite part is the extreme boob physics. I'm just gonna be that guy right now. I make because I pretty much I make when I play games, if it gives me the female character option, that's typically what I default to because I'm a dude. I can be a dude all fucking day long. I can't be a chick. So I be one. Well, I mean, I guess I could, but that's a whole nother topic.
Gray area. Wrong podcast.
I'm just saying. I mean, the beard might throw a little bit of that off, but I love just it. It makes me laugh, like how ridiculous you can make your characters in Saints Row games. At least in the latter of the games. I never try. I tried one after I think I played 2 or 3, and I was like, holy shit, this is like going back in time. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
For like gameplay and just how it looked. I think it's great for the fans. I think it's good for those sandbox type of games to keep, competition amongst themselves. Like with, I mean, you got Infamous Son, you've got, or is it Infamous and then it's Second Son or whatever? I don't know. And you've got Grand Theft Auto, you got Saints Row, all those games that are in those kind of like that open sandbox kind of thing. It's good to keep pushing each other and to make more games, and there's plenty of fans out there that want Saints Row. I mean, more power to them. I'm probably check it out if it's in Game Pass or it's real cheap at some point, but I don't see it as something that's high on my list of priorities.
Well, Saints Row, one thing you got to know about these games is it definitely they don't really they're going to get discounted fairly quickly. That's not a game that stays expensive for a long time.
That's pretty much everything now, though.
Yeah, like it's going to get discounted within probably 3 months. It'll be half the cost of what it was when it came out, so or less because it's just that kind of game for whatever reason. It sells well initially, but they always discount it, fairly quickly. So either way, great synopsis, great breakdown. Okay, cool. Centurion, so on you, my G. What's going on with you? What do you think about Saints Row? Are you a fan of it? What do you think about? Did you get a chance to even read the article?
Oh man, am I gonna sound like a fraud in saying I've never touched a Saints Row game?
No, you're being honest. Why would you be a fraud?
I'll play what we like or don't like.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that I don't like it. I want to feel that I missed the train on the original Saints Row.
Agreed.
And then Saints Row 2 came out, then 3, then 4, then Gat Out of Hell. I thought about buying that package where you get like a Saints Row and Gat Out of Hell, basically where you get like a bunch of Saints Rows together. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you didn't get that first one, I'm just like, for me, how OCD I am when it comes to experiencing a story, I just want to play the first game, and I'm like, I would have to play 4 or 5 games to truly get the Saints Row experience that I guess I would be looking for in my head. So definitely, that's one reason why I haven't hopped on that train is because I want to try the first one. But I have heard a lot of, I don't want to say arguments, but debates over the years when it comes to Saints Row about how it's totally different from where it first started to where it ended up. And forgive me, I didn't really see the article, but I'm not, let's just put it this way. There's obviously a massive fan base for this style of game. Mm-hmm. So it'd be silly not to create another one of these games, but I have kind of heard people kicking around the idea that it's gotten so twisted and I don't want to say Saints Row. How it's gotten crazy. Totally different from what it first started out at to where it is now.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's outlandish as you. So think about WWE, think about Looney Tunes, think about Grand Theft Auto, and then put all of those together.
See, I guess it started off as something that was supposed to rival Grand Theft Auto.
Well, not necessarily. I wouldn't say. I mean, it was just another option. It was another game that was like Grand Theft Auto. So obviously, they made those comparisons. Go ahead, Fuzz.
No, I was going to say they actually had more criminal elements. Like you could be a pimp, you could, transport cargo or however you want to put it. You could do a lot of those things that now are like everyday occurrences in Grand Theft Auto Online. Those were in like Saints Row 2 essentially. So it was one of those things where people looked at it as like a Grand Theft Auto to begin with, but it had all of the things that Grand Theft Auto should have had from get go. That they kind of they didn't really abandon, but they strayed away from that and they went. I won't say the more silly route, but it was a lot more fun being able to kill people or have them dance themselves to death with a dubstep gun as opposed to just shooting every person you see type of deal.
I gotta say, I did love the dubstep gun. That shit was awesome.
That was what I read. I read about the whole. I've looked into these games, and from what I've seen, that they started out something that was Grand Theft Auto ish. Mm-hmm. And they saw that niche was already taken, and they wanted to create something totally unique and different. And they started with like you're talking about, the dubstep gun and creating zany stuff, and it kind of snowballed from there into Gat Out of Hell or whatever the last one was.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people saying that if they do another Saints Row, there's even talking about like not starting over, but kind of like that storyline is like, I guess, ended or whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. Did it end with the last Saints Row? Was that the end of that entire? Because all the games kind of the same characters.
Are any stories ever really over?
That's true. I would just know. Just from my point of
in video game land, you can do everything. Like, how about this? You want my opinion? I don't care what character you killed at the end of Gears 5. I guarantee you, they're both going to be back.
Shut up. Some of us haven't finished it yet.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, whoa. I'm just saying, I'm just saying, if whatever, dude, it's been, I'm sorry, whatever, call me an a-hole.
I'll forget you are an a-hole.
But whatever, I'm just saying right now, I know I am a total sci-fi geek. You can make anything happen with enough convolutedness and storytelling.
Convoluted?
Oh, dude. Oh,
hey, if you can bring Spock back in Star Trek, yeah.
I mean, at this point that I haven't finished Gears 5 is my own fault. And if I see spoilers or hear them, it's really not on you guys. I should have finished it by now.
They left it open to where, I'm just telling you right now, don't be surprised if both of them, either one, whichever one it is that had anything happen to them, like, I would not be surprised.
Took the headphones off, not listening.
Anyways, I've just been hearing a lot of people talk about how they need to kind of hit the reset button when it comes to the Saints Row franchise.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, once again, this is another franchise that if you would have told me or asked me at the end of last generation, are we going to see another game? I'd have been like, hell yeah, we're going to see another game already. It's like I said, it's weird. There's certain games like Borderlands. Like you would have asked me at the end of last generation, are we getting a new Borderlands? For sure we get. It took 6 years to get a new Borderlands, almost 7 years to get a new Borderlands game. So it's kind of crazy. And this game, this is why games like this are important to me and are always going to be relevant, because these are games that do have a following. No, they don't have a gigantic following, but these games paved the way. They gave a lot of these other games that we play ideas, So it's kind of nice to see these games updated and to see what essentially they can do with this new technology. Because, I mean, a new Saints Row, just think about it. I mean, there's a lot of games that kind of remind you of that. Sunset Overdrive, does that not remind you?
Oh, definitely. Does
that not remind you? Exactly. Like,
and that was a great game, and they just twisted it.
Yeah,
and another thing that we have to remember is these games have proven to make money, and if we know anything about industry, oh shit, that made money, let's fucking duplicate it. Let's do it again. I mean, we see it in movies, we see it in video games with all these remakes, remasters, and then just like how many X number of iterations of a game do we have? I mean, Halo has 5 plus Reach plus
ODST,
ODST plus Halo Wars 1 and 2. We got all the Gears with Judgment. I mean, it's just Grand Theft. A lot of these games, it's cash cow. It's not the saying that that's a bad thing, but it's just it can make money, so why not?
Well, they need something to fill the gap too. Because I mean, GTA 5 is not going anywhere. They are not shutting off those servers at all. I promise you, those aren't going anywhere. We're gonna see those on the new consoles. But Rockstar they literally have they don't have a time frame to make the new Grand Theft Auto. We're probably not going to see a
The
new
federal government
GTA.
is going to Rockstar Games
Yeah,
asking them what they want the new $100 bill to look
yeah,
like.
it's ridiculous. They can make that game whenever they want. So since there's no new time, there's no timetable on that game, then Saints Row will come in and fill that gap. As people are still playing GTA 5, but it's going to be a nice alternative till we get that new GTA. Which will happen whenever they fucking decide to do it. Which they probably have already been working on. It's going to be a gigantic. It'll be the biggest game, no matter what year it comes out. Point blank. Period. So let's go ahead and move on from that topic. Great topic, by the way. So once again, as you guys file in here, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Once again, can't say thank you guys enough for being here consistently every week, giving us great energy, keeping the chat going. You guys are fucking amazing. So this last topic, this is something that we've been talking about, and recently, especially after XO 19, it hit home to me that this is probably there's always things that you say contribute like greatly to this video game landscape. They change the direction, of gaming. And sometimes there's small things that later on we don't see. We're like, oh, holy shit, that one thing changed the entire way we play video games, how we consume this form of entertainment. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about Game Pass and its value, and just the fact that like it's literally become it's changed this entire generation. Game Pass has altered this generation. It's become its own entity. It's almost as important as the hardware itself at this point for Xbox. So I wanted to get you guys' opinions, and I know I almost called you the wrong goddamn thing. But Centurion, I want to get your opinion first and foremost because I know you're a huge advocate for Game Pass. You always talk about it. We always talk about it as well. So what do you think about it? Just its tremendous value, and then after XO19, seeing all the companies come on board, all these different publishers come on board, games that people said, "Well, you're never gonna get on the Xbox. These games are not coming to Xbox." We're seeing them pop up in Game Pass. So what do you think going forward? Is this established itself? Is just changing gaming from this point forward?
So it is changing gaming. There's a lot of people out there that are worried, crying, and jumping to conclusions. I've even personally been targeted by a few of them. It's quite hilarious.
Sorry about that.
Especially when you bring up the fact of like when I put out a statement of how much money this subscription service can allegedly make if it had around what the numbers that are being tossed around. So like originally in May of this year, it was tossed around that there was 9.5 million users on Xbox Game Pass, or excuse me, Microsoft Game Pass. Now we fast forward from May, and in May from to now, we have had Game Pass Ultimate rollout. We have had Game Pass PC. We have had Gears 5. We have had Outer Worlds. We have had numerous indie games that are worth playing come out. I see the numbers with about 60 some million Xbox Live accounts out in the wild. I don't say that it's unfathomable that there's around 10 million Xbox Game Pass subscribers. Now, I understand the argument. They paid $1, they paid $2, they got this, they got that, whatever. In about a year to 2 years' time, if everybody out of 10 million subscribers was paying $10 a month, we're not even going to say 15, we'll just say 10, we're talking about a subscription service that's making over $1.1 billion a year. And that's just standing still. That's not having to do anything at all. And the great part is about this service is, one, it allows people who are in economic constraints to actually participate in playing some of these games. I have my brother. He is a hardworking mofo, and that dude, his wife is disabled. He's the only person working in the household, and so sometimes he can't afford these games. Game Pass has opened the door on playing Gears 5 for me, the Outer Worlds, numerous titles. We don't have to worry about the limitation of somebody going, "Oh, I can't afford that game," or "I have to wait till I get paid." Game Pass opens the doors for so many people like that. On top of that, God, where was I going with this? I could go on about this all day. It's a really great service. It really is. and it's not something that should be shut down. And basically, it's going to hurt games going forward. It's going to devalue games. There is no evidence to support right now that it is devaluing games.
None whatsoever.
And so until that happens, it is what it is. Until that happens, right now, this service looks great. It's making people money. It's making developers money. It's making Microsoft money. Hell, it's making us money because we're not out there shelling out $60 a title day and date.
Absolutely. Look who's reaping the benefits from this.
Everybody's almost reaping the benefits from us if we go off of what Phil Spencer said. And even Phil Spencer said in one of his last interviews is to everybody, quit worrying about my bank account. Just play the games and keep the extra money. We're not concerned about, devaluing games because that's not going to occur. And so therefore people need to stop worrying about Microsoft's bank account because they're not, even if you are a stockholder, because I think somebody on this panel is. Yeah, but at any rate, listen to look at the Fuzzy. Is Fuzzy over here freaking out because he's like, oh my god, I'm a stockholder, they're gonna bankrupt me.
Yeah. They've been up for the past 2 years at an alarming rate, so I'm pretty happy at what they're doing. I mean, they're not losing money. Let's put it that way. They're definitely not losing money.
When you go look at them on the stock market right now, from January of this year to right now, it's all uphill. Mm-hmm. It's all uphill. Like, don't get me wrong. It's like watching a heart meter. It's it's a wavy line, but the wavy line goes up.
Yeah, it's trending in the right direction. But no, I agree. I think Game Pass has single-handedly probably been, if not the biggest feature this entire generation from both sides, both companies, Nintendo as well, like Nintendo included. I think Game Pass has completely changed the way we look at games, the way we consume games from this point forward. It's heavily influenced Nintendo. It's heavily influenced Sony. You look at what they're doing with their infrastructure. Same thing with Nintendo. They're looking at shit. We behind the 8 ball. We got to bump up our infrastructure to get some of this.
That speaks volumes when you're the supposed market loser, supposedly.
Let's use your servers.
And you are now basically you have half the consoles in the wild. You don't have certain first party exclusives like Mario and other stuff like Nintendo's got going on. Same with Sony. But Microsoft is creating programs and doing things that is making their competition have to change the way they're doing things, because obviously now it's making them look like the dinosaurs.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Once again, it's just something else that's, I think that I didn't when we got Game Pass, I'm like, okay, that's a cool, really consumer friendly idea. I had no idea of what this one service was capable of and the influence it was going to have when they announced it. I thought, okay, this is super friendly. This is super, cost effective. It just makes sense. Like, just give people a subscription, super cheap. You get all these games loaded in every single month for a period of time. You play them, you own them, whatever the case may be, as long as you got a subscription. So it just made sense to me. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Stag. How do you feel about it? The more and more we've talked about Game Pass, it's something that's come up, from time to time, just throughout the weeks that we do these videos. So what do you think about Game Pass and going forward where it's at?
Sorry, guys. In the middle of all this, I was rolling in my chair and the base just snapped. So,
Lord have mercy.
I was just I was reaching around to grab a pen, and the cast iron or the fucking steel base literally just fucking split in half.
You told me I didn't get to hear a baby deer on headset?
You guys didn't hear me go, what the shit?
I heard you, but I was not going to say anything. I swear to God.
Dude,
he either fell or he spilled something.
I almost did, man. It split.
Oh, holy shit.
Like the cast steel broke.
Yeah, no edits. We're not doing no edits.
Oh my God, I've had this chair for all right, at least it's still under warranty. All right, Game Pass.
This went off the rails.
I know, right?
Oh my God, my chair just broke. I can't. It's a $400 fucking chair. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, no, damn.
Anyways, Game Pass, it's amazing. Granted, it didn't. I was an early adopter. I had it as soon as they let us have it. They announced it. It's great. It didn't start off all that wonderfully. Like, granted, I always thought it had value. It had a great selection. Not a great selection. It had good games for you to check out and try out and stuff like that. But now that they're putting stuff in day one, kind of, it's great. Here's the thing, though. you don't even have to spend any money to get it. If you do your Microsoft rewards daily, and if you earn your reward points, you do your Game Pass quest, you do the new Game Pass quest that they just rolled out, and it hasn't rolled out to everybody. And I know Microsoft Rewards isn't worldwide, but if you don't reach level 2, it's 168,000 Microsoft Rewards points. If you do reach level 2, which as long as you're doing your rewards every day, it'll cost you like 135,000 points for a year of Game Pass. And all that takes is 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, like 5 minutes a day, clicking some shit, and you don't even have to get the right answer, and they give you points every day, and they give you, the longer your streak stays active, you get more points.
Yeah.
So you can earn free Game Pass, free Xbox Live Gold, free Ultimate, whatever. How can you argue with that? It's just, I do watch football during the show, and that's not what happened. I was reaching for a pin. I can't believe my chair just broke. But Game Pass is great. I think the future of it's great, with Microsoft saying all our first party games are going straight in on day one. I don't think it's ruining the industry. We've seen I've said it before, and I've probably said it on this show, but Napster, Pandora, Spotify did not ruin the industry. We're still getting new albums daily from multiple artists. Netflix, Hulu, subscription services haven't ruined the fact that you can go to the movie theater and watch a movie, and you get new shows on NBC, ABC, all those networks. You're still getting new TV shows, and you're getting them on your streaming services. So how is more options and more value added gaming for the buck you're spending a bad thing? I will never understand that. I think it's great. It's like having Blockbuster but not having to leave the fucking house. Granted, you don't get to pick whatever you want, but when you went to Blockbuster, they didn't have every single game you wanted, and sometimes the motherfucker had the game you wanted and he wouldn't bring it back. This way you don't have to deal with that. Like, what I'm talking about. This guy's had the game for 2 months.
Line, Stag. You crossing the line when you talk about that. My blood is boiling now. Waiting on that damn cartridge. It still ain't came
right? Like, dude, bring it back.
Yeah,
I lost it, quote unquote. Just give me the $50, you cocksucker.
Ridiculous. Anyway, no, I feel you though, Stag. No, great point. Once again, I think it's something that caught me off guard. Because like you said, I was an early adopter as well, but I'm like, it's great. Obviously, financially, I think that's the biggest thing, is that it just gives people, you just got to have the console. Get in the door. You don't have to buy any games right away. This is a great option, for parents that have kids that don't have the ability to buy a brand new game every single time it comes out. It's amazing. Like, there's not a single thing that's bad about it. And we've seen over time developers come out. We put our game in Game Pass on purpose. It's not an accident. Xbox is not hijacking people's games, throwing them in Game Pass without them knowing it. These games are doing well. The numbers have come out. I'm not going to dive into that shit because I'm not that kind of person. But, essentially there's articles that's come out saying that, Game Pass helps games in a lot of different ways. So I think, when you accumulate, when you look at what it's been able to do, there's a lot. There's really not anything else this generation, not a single feature that's been as big as Game Pass. So, Fuzz, we're going to go ahead and wrap this topic up with you. Obviously Game Pass is a big deal, but what do you think?
Yeah. Well, parent of 2 kids, that I won't say their attention span, but their choice of games almost changes hourly. Game Pass has been a big saving grace as far as my wallet when it comes to, let's get Devil May Cry. Okay, you played it for 2 hours and never touch it again. So it's like, with having things like Game Pass, it definitely helps that aspect. And then Centurion was saying earlier in reference to how Game Pass compared to or not necessarily compared to, but how well it's doing and things like that, and them being not necessarily the market loser, but not doing as well as the others, and then the competition having to kind of follow or copy. Let's talk about Stadia for a minute when you compare.
We're gonna get into that, but this is a great segue. You can go ahead. Yeah. This is the last topic, by the way, chat. So if you didn't know, we're rolling right into Stadia.
I mean, because if you look at it, especially with xCloud, and they made mention at XO19 that I guess it's going to be either Game Pass or maybe Game Pass Ultimate, that xCloud is going to be rolled into that. I mean, Stadia launched with 9 games, I think, and
Sheesh.
people are having people are
it was
having
20.
issues with games that they may have bought at discount on the pro discount, but then let their subscription lapse, and now they can't access that game, which I have yet to let my Game Pass lapse, but I'm pretty sure if it's anything like any other sale, like from Xbox Live sales and things like that, once you buy that game, even if you got a sale while you had Xbox Live, it doesn't lock the game behind that subscription because you basically bought the game. So there's just so many things that Game Pass is doing right that even the competition that's coming up to it now to try to give it a run for its money, or when I find a hard time trying to even be able to be on its level. I mean, not knocking Stadia. I applaud Google for trying, and rumor has it Amazon's not too far behind, and we'll hear something in 2020. But right now, Microsoft is doing it right with Game Pass, just making it so much easier, so much more affordable to have access to games. Sure, there's going to be a few diehards out there. I only buy games. Well, I buy games too, and I still have Game Pass. And one of the only arguments I have is some of the games I do buy wind up in Game Pass. So it's like, well, if I just waited 2 months, could have had it for free.
Hey,
well, not for free, but with the subscription. But still, it's just overall, it's the best overall value out there. And you got Stadia and whatever Amazon's going to come out with, they're going to really have to step it up. And when they do step it up, then that just means Microsoft's going to have to, sweeten the deal even more with Game Pass. Right now, it's a pretty sweet deal, but if they can sweeten it even more with competition knocking at their door, I look forward to it.
So one thing I want to applaud Xbox for doing, especially when you talk about Game Pass, is doing it the right way. With Game Pass laid the foundation for what is going to happen, what's about to happen. So they laid the train tracks just in case anything got crazy. Because think about Game Pass and what the idea is. It's such a versatile service. It works with xCloud. It can work potentially with VR. It works with every single thing Xbox has their hand in flawlessly. You don't have to even integrate it. It's just a feature. It's part of those services in total. So in any direction, at any point in time that this video game industry can go to, Xbox is ready. They already have the train track laid down. It's gonna fall right in with. So imagine this. Imagine the iPhone with no Apple Store. Like, you come on now, you're gonna give me this device, you have to have the Apple Store, and Game Pass is essentially the Apple Store to the xCloud. You already have the feature built in, the feature works, it's already been tested. We all been beta testing Game Pass for the last couple of years. And it's definitely gonna be a part of xCloud. For sure. That definitely gonna. So essentially, I applaud them for just doing it the right way, and I think it's an amazing service. It's gonna evolve over time, and it's only gonna get better. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna take. Well, actually, you know what? I guess we could probably finish talking about Stadia. Stack, did you want to throw anything? Do you want to throw anything in about Stadia, Stack?
I mean, we didn't see this coming.
Like your chair.
I know, right?
I'm totally I'm really upset
gone.
about this
It's
chair.
gone.
I mean, it'll get fixed, it'll get replaced. I just posted pictures of what happened, and that's like the last place you think would fail. But no, Stadia. When they said, what was it, 2 weeks ago, it wasn't going to launch with a functioning UI, the achievement system wasn't going to come out till later or early in the beginning of the next year, and a few other things, and then not having a lot of games and having to rebuy the game. I just, with the competition at xCloud, and I'm curious to see what Amazon's going to do. No, I'm not going to lie about that. I don't think it's going to be a profitable adventure for them, as much as I love Amazon and they support my family because whatever. But I felt like Stadia was gonna flop. It's basically I've seen people enjoying it and I've seen people not enjoying it, which I expected. Whatever. It's not for me. I've really enjoyed xCloud. I was sitting the other day at miles away from my house playing games, pissing off the kids at the jiu-jitsu studio because they're like, wait, you're playing Xbox right now? I'm like, hell yeah, I am, buddy. And I'm already invested into that ecosystem. Why would I go out and buy a whole nother brand of thing. I mean, I kind of want one like when it's like dead and it's super cheap. I might buy a controller just to put on the shelf, but I have no interest in in what they're offering. So I just don't see a value in that content for what I do and for my gaming.
Yeah, no. Well, once again, you gotta consider the fact that this is just another branch on that gaming tree, streaming, being able to play these games anywhere. Every company is going that direction as far as tech company. Apple, Microsoft, Samsung, Sony, they're all going that direction. They want all these games to be available on more things. So the fact that Xbox, like I said, they already have the groundwork laid for that service, and it's already up and running. It's already working. People are already seeing the benefits. Studios are already seeing the benefits. Developers are already putting their games there. They're already seeing. They're already having this so much success with the actual service that it's amazing. It's amazing going forward just to see the changes that are happening. So I don't know, Centurion. Did you want to talk about Stadia a little bit before we wrap this thing up?
Oh, sure. God, I'm staring at pictures of Stagger's chair, thinking of Stadia, just looking at it.
Right?
Terrible.
They're very parallel.
Down and out, huh, bro?
Oh, hey, at least the chair lasted 2 fucking years. I don't think Stadia's gonna last that long.
Damn, bang bang, shots fired.
Oh man, now that's funny.
Come on.
Oh, dude, Stadia. I've said this in a couple statements. Everybody thought Stadia was going to be DOA. Dead on arrival. Well, Stadia gave us a dead body to throw over the finish line, saying we made it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. And it gets worse and worse. Fuzz just informed me that I guess if you get a game on a discount and you stop whatever service, apparently they kind of clip that game from you.
Yeah.
You can't buy games on a storefront. There is no storefront. You got to use your phone or the internet. There's no multiplayer, even though the game was marketed as having Destiny 2 and all this other stuff. There's no multiplayer. It's just like, I'm just going to say it like this. I don't see anybody giving Google a pass, but still, I have watched Microsoft and other game hardware developers and software developers get ridiculed and burned at the stake for creating games that were substandard, lacking features, not what people promised, and all this other stuff in between. And Google, I don't know what they must have not been paying attention this gen, because they threw that thing out, lacking features, no interface, all this other stuff, nothing what they promised. I was going through Twitter, and I'm part of Xbot 448's lounge, and the Dawn put out a post saying that apparently now it's coming out that Stadia is overheating the Google Chromecast. So yeah, I'm just like, wow, talk about a flaming failure.
I mean, it's tough. I mean, this is their first foray, and I'm not gonna say we're gonna give them a pass, whatever the case may be, but you gotta go through the bullshit to get to the good stuff, though. You gotta. It's their first dip in the pool. They got the floaties on. They're not really sure about what's going on. So they gotta. Although they have all these great examples that they're coming behind. This is the first time somebody's doing something like this. But you're right. I mean, we talked about it. We came out and said it when we saw when they came out and did the presentation at the Google Play event, and or whatever event it was. I don't remember if it was at a Google Play event, but it was at some tech event. They came out and did, and we said, look, this is not what it's going to be. I mean, all the buzzwords, the 12 gig to 12 teraflops, and all this.
They made themselves look like some horses' asses with how much crap talking they did at that event.
If you go back, I did it. I went back and watched like a sizzle reel, kind of a compilation of the announcement. I'm like, this is not how this thing is. Like, this is not how it's going down at all. This is not ending up this way. So it's something that you got. If you're an early adopter, you love the tech. You something you got to put up with. As time goes by, as long as it stays around, as long as Google doesn't abandon it like they do every goddamn thing else. Hangouts, fucking damn near abandon us with Hangouts, all kind of Google Plus, all this crazy shit. So if they don't abandon it within 6 to 12 months, it may stay around long enough just to get better. Because I mean, I think it's room for it. It's not going to hurt anybody.
Google's got enough money to, kind of stave, I don't want to say that Google's not so broke that they got to basically, scrap this whole idea right now. They've definitely got enough money to kind of try to push this forward and see if they can save it.
Yeah. And Jones who said xCloud is still in beta and it's 10 times better. You're right, but this is Xbox we're talking. I mean, Microsoft we're talking about. This is the largest software company in the world. Like they do this. That's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like we can't applaud a fish for swimming. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what it's supposed to do. And Xbox, that's why they're the leader. That's why they're taking point on this, and that's why everybody else is following behind their footsteps because they do this kind of shit and they do it the best. So. Yeah, if you're early adopter Stadia, you're gonna have to go through your growing pains. Hopefully, Google sticks around long enough for it to actually get good. Obviously they're gonna have to make some changes. They can't be doing them buzzwords anymore because that shit did not work out.
They should have took what Phil Spencer said in that interview. Would you launch it like that?
Yeah, like come on now, come on. Either way, guys. So we'll see. Coming up in the next year, 2 years, if this thing stays around, Stadia will improve. I hope it does, because once again, it is room for it. So let's go ahead and wrap this thing up, everybody, man. Once again, thank you guys for coming out, hanging out with us. Man, it helps the podcast and the videos that are on this channel be seen, guys. So once again, thank you guys so much. Let's go ahead and just go around the panel real quick, let everybody know what's going on, where they can find you guys at Stag. We're going to start with you like we do every week, buddy. First of all, thank you for being on the show again, super consistent. And what you got going on this week, man?
Sitting on the floor.
Update, right?
Actually, you know what's so honestly, I have the sit stand clutch desk, so I will probably be raising it up and standing until I get my chair fixed. But regardless, you could catch me on Twitter, being stupid, asking questions, maybe mocking some people with my stop sign GIF that I like to use now for fucking console wars. I don't even fucking argue with him anymore. I'm just like the guy tapping the stop sign. That's just what I post now. You can find me on Twitch, streaming indies Monday through Friday, unless I have an appointment at 9:15 Pacific. You can find me here on Saturdays, and I'm just doing what I do and enjoying gaming and life. Just do that and have fun.
That's what we do. That's what we do here, man. That's absolutely what we do. Once again, thanks, Stagman. I got the best panel for sure as far as gaming podcasts go. For sure, it's not even close. Shout out to everybody else. I respect everybody else's show, but man, we got a great thing here. And once again, if you're not a part of the family, subscribe to the channel as well. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. What you got cooking up for this week, man? We need some new content. I know it's coming, so hopefully you can let us know and give us some information about that.
I put out a video earlier this week.
More content. I mean, besides that.
More content. I know. I need to get back on that content train. Man, I love being here with you guys every week. I love the fact that you let me be part of this. Before I let everybody know where they can find me, though, let's all stop, take a moment, and have a moment of silence for Stagger's chair. And
hold on. 5 seconds, everybody. Wait. Shh. 5 seconds. I think we're back. We're back.
All right, let me wipe my tears.
Yeah, we're back.
I just see him sitting on the floor holding the pieces in his hands.
You should have got the same.
Connected. It's just snapped in that one. It's like somehow it's still holding together. I don't know how.
You should have got the same insurance that covered your C shit. It would have covered the chair too.
Man, it's got a 3-year warranty on it, and it still had a year left, so I'm good.
Right. Hey, well, at least you're gonna get a new chair.
Yeah.
Anyway. They'll just probably send me a new base to screw into the bottom. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I already sent them an email.
Anyways, everybody can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and Xbox Live. They can also find me on the Saltiest Gaming Podcast on Thursdays, TXR on Sundays, and right here on this crazy awesome show on Saturdays, the Shop Podcast. And what was that noise? Did something else just break?
I hope not. We can't.
No,
I'm you good over there? Okay. This Fuzz probably fell asleep again. Fuzz, wake up.
No,
man.
No, I'm good.
I know, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. But last but not least, that's a great segue. We're going to slow this thing down. All the way down. Real slow.
Barry Ross.
Mr. Barry Ross. Barry Ross, the gaming amalgamation of Barry White and Bob Ross. Let everybody know what's going on with you, Fuzz, and where they can find you at, brother.
Well, you can usually find me on Twitter, and I'm expanding out to Instagram, posting some Forza pics and things. So if you're into Forza or if you're just into cars like I am, check out my Instagram at fuzzy_Belvedere, Twitter
Well, I'm
fuzzy
done.
underscore
We're wrapping it
Belvedere, PSN fuzzy_Belvedere.
What's that?
And the only place where I don't need an underscore,
What's
Xbox
up?
Live fuzzy space Belvedere, where I'm
done.
for the most part playing NASCAR Heat 4, kind of
Shut everything
living
down.
my racing dream, I guess. But yeah, awesome being here as usual. Love being on this show, guys.
All right, man. And last but not least, your boy PTK Blam, the host with the most across the board. PTK Blam on Xbox Live, on Twitter as well. Follow me there. Once again, guys, we're on the road to 2K. I'm almost at 2,000 followers as well on Twitter. If you're not following there, please go ahead and click the link. Make sure that's down below. Follow me on Twitter. Follow all these awesome gentlemen on Twitter as well to get just recent updates on what's going on with all of us here on the Shop Podcast. Once again, thank you guys so much. Another week in the books. The show gets better and better. So next week we will be here, same place, same fucking time, same lit show, guys. You guys have the rest of your weekend. Enjoy the rest of your day, your night, essentially going forward, guys. Enjoy your holiday as well. Be safe out there. No turkey and driving, especially your ass Fuzz. You fall asleep too easy, man. It's not a good idea. You should eat turkey and drive. But either way, guys, you guys have a great day. Enjoy the rest of it. Peace. We out of here.
Take care, everyone.
Later.